Hello and welcome to ICAEW Student Insights. My name is Jag Dhaliwal and today we're discussing transitional arrangements around the Next Generation ACA. Students who register with ICAEW from the 1st of July 2025 will be starting the updated qualification, which means taking new exams and following a slightly different structure. Students who register before that date can complete either the current ACA qualification or transfer to the Next Generation ACA. Whatever route you follow, it's important to know all of the facts. And that's why I'm joined today by Shaun Robertson, Director of Education and Qualifications, and Hazel Powling, Head of Qualifications Development. Hi, Shaun and Hazel. Thank you for coming in today.
Yeah, thank you for inviting us. We're really excited to be here to tell you more information.
Yeah, hello. It's great to be here. Thanks for the opportunity to talk about the Next Generation ACA.
So to kick off, could you just tell me about the Next Generation ACA?
The Next Generation ACA, it's an ongoing process. Every 4 or 5 years, we go in to take a big deep breath, go and see what's happening in industry, what's happening in the profession, and make sure the qualification reflects that, because we've got a duty of care to the students to make sure you're studying something that's going to be useful to you in your career. And we sort of zero base it all and make sure it is fit for purpose. So at the moment, the big topics are definitely sustainability, trust in the profession, which means our ethical stance, and technology is affecting everything in the profession. So they become front and center for this iteration of the qualification. But however, we'll be looking at into 2030, what happens then as well. So it's an ongoing process, and every year it's updated as well. And Hazel has a good look each year to make sure the qualifications, it's a very, I would say the qualification is very dynamic. It's constantly changing. So the one that you sat is probably quite unique to your year. Every year it changes. So we're quite proud and excited about this Next Generation ACA starting in 2025.
No, it sounds really exciting. Those are some key emerging topics that I think students should definitely learn about. So, Hazel, do you have anything to add?
Yeah, it's been a really good opportunity for us to look at the qualification as a whole and not its individual parts, and really think about how we might integrate it more, and also look at how we might support students through their journey as well. And looking at employers, so from their perspective, the sort of technical knowledge and skills that they need from their student at a particular point in time, and trying to align all of those things together to produce something that hopefully is just as robust as our current ACA, but it gives more perhaps flexibility, more support to students. And indeed, we have an exciting part that we've included through specialised learning. So it allows the ability as well for that flexibility and look at different specialisms as well.
And Hazel, you mentioned supporting students. What should our current students know about their Next Generation ACA?
Yeah, so our current students can continue on their pathway that they're on currently, so they don't need to worry about Next Generation ACA. What their qualification is just as robust. As Shaun has said, we update anyway throughout the qualification. So those students can just continue on that pathway, but if they want to dip in and out of Next Generation ACA, they also have the opportunity to do that.
It sounds like both the current ACA and the Next Generation ACA will be run by ICAEW for just a period of time.
Yeah, that's right. We've got a few years where we're transitioning and parallel running all the exams. So our current students, they should be able to complete their current qualification in the timescales that are set out. The current students will have until March 2026 to complete their current certificate level. And then if we think about professional level, moving on to professional level, so our current students will have 3 sit-ins in 2026, so March, June and September, to complete their professional level exams. And next generation students for professional level will be starting from the March 2026, so we've got that period of parallel running, so there should be plenty of exams. And then advanced level, but that gets a bit more complicated, I'll pass that over to Shaun, I think.
No, for advanced level, the new exams start in 2027, so July July onwards in 2027. There's less of a parallel run there, so there'll be the opportunities for students to complete corporate reporting in SBM, but they can also complete using the new modules as well. So it's already ready there on a website. But 2027 is a transitional time for advanced level. One word of warning for all the transitional rules, I would say, is that there is an overlap, and the overlap's there for a reason. Is to, if you have tripped up, unfortunately, and you're doing a retake, make sure you get your retake done. Don't start on new modules until you complete it, because you might run out of runways, I've been saying. So the transitional rules are there to make sure you complete whatever you've started as well.
So does that mean with the reset, you could potentially change to a different exam?
You could, but we want to try and avoid that. So let's look at an example. If you were sitting, I don't know, principles of tax, say in December 25, and unfortunately you tripped up, rather than doing onto the fundamentals of tax, the new syllabus, which has got extra content in there, you've got until the end of March to finish principles of tax. So we'll run that exam for another 3 months to make sure you get your that credit for that module. And that was what I was saying, and tutors are aware of this. At that point in time, make sure that you focus on getting your resit done rather than opening up new modules, because we can worry about that later. Because there's always a nice transitional rule, but make sure you try, as soon as you get into the last 9 months of the parallel run for professional and certificate level, think about completing your resit in that case.
So by the end of 2027, all of the current sittings will have ended. Is there anything else that our current students need to know?
One other thing to think about with the the transition is that existing students will not have to do any specialised learning. Specialised learning is only for the Next Generation ACA students. So a way to think about it is, if you're a current student, you've got 15 exams to do. For the new Next Generation, they've got 14 exams to do plus specialised learning. So either way to think about it, you either do 15 exams or 14 exams in specialised learning. So
What about those students who are transferring to the ACA Next Generation?
for the students transferring from the current ACA to the Next Generation ACA, we've got a rated reckoner for certificate, professional and advanced level about, if you haven't completed this exam, you've got to complete the equivalent exam under the Next Generation ACA. So that those tables are there. Don't try and be smart. Don't try and find an easy way through. We've measured everything. We've got to make sure that everybody's at the same level, whether you're current, mixing and matching, or purely Next Generation ACA. So all these transitional rules are in place for the student.
So, yeah, one of the other things to just mention about that is in relation to if you're moving across, and so you do part of existing ACA and then part under the Next Generation ACA, is that the main thing is that you will do 6 certificate level exams and 6 professional level exams. So that's what we're trying to do. So students won't necessarily have to sit an additional exam. As long as they plan ahead and really think about where they are, then that's what they should be doing. No additional modules as such.
If you don't plan well, the only thing that would ever happen to a student is you might have to do more modules. We've tried to eliminate that as much as possible. So this is only if you don't plan. So plan now and make sure you only do 6 exams. There is no way you can do less exams. So don't try. We've had quite a few people trying to do that. You can't.
So if you are transferring, just get onto the website and make a clear plan.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, a shout out a little bit. I mean, the big transitional rule to have a look at if you are in this situation is the audit assurance and financial accounting and reporting. You've got to complete them as a set under the current ACA or the equivalent set 2 exams under the new Next Generation ACA. You can't mix and match those modules. So definitely spend a bit of time focusing on them and speak to your tutor to get help there.
So in terms of planning, I know you mentioned the resources on the website. Is there essentially kind of a roadmap essentially for the exams when the new come in, and so students can have everything that they need to plan themselves?
Yeah, well, we've been working very closely with our communications internal marketing team, which have been great because what they've done is they've taken the raw rules that Hazel and I have developed, and they've created a variety of different ways of presenting them. So if you're much more, you like a ready reckoner, a table, that's there for you. But they've already also developed like a decision tree, like a roadmap you can go through. So I think it's fantastic what they've done to have all the different ways of looking at the same set of rules. So I think whatever way you interpret these rules, there'll be a mode for you to look at. And those of you just like reading about it, it's there to read about as well. But there's visual logic, there's all different ways of doing it. Because I say, a whole plan of putting these transitional rules out is to get people to adopt them as early as possible. So, yeah, the team's done a great job pushing them out.
Yeah, so all that information is available under the Next Generation part of our ICAEW website. That's where to go for more information.
I would say as well that we will be producing more snippets of precise information when the time's right. So, I say all the transitional rules run until the end of 2027. However, there'll be certain pinch points as we come along. So as they get closer, we'll be reminding students of the particular pinch point that's in place. But as long as they speak to the tutors and their employers, especially the tutors, they'll guide them. For most students, they probably won't even notice they've gone through a transition. They'll just say they'll go to class, study, pass the exams, get their work experience, and qualify. And that's what we aim to achieve here. So.
Yeah, just a seamless experience.
Absolutely.
Completely.
No, that sounds great. So it does sound like currently all the information is on that website and the ACA, the Next Generation section. I don't really think there's much more that they need to know. Is there anything that you think we haven't touched on today that you do think is important for students to know?
So one of the two things to sort of mention is our current students. Obviously, they need to be thinking about one thing we haven't sort of mentioned is the ethics learning programme. So they need to make sure that they've completed their ethics learning programme, which will go on until December 2026. So just that one's for them to think about. If they don't do that by that date, then they will need to pass the new sustainability and ethics module, which is part of our new certificate level. So students really need to think about that one and put that one in their diaries. And then, as Shaun's been saying, for the Next Generation ACA, so we've really looked at, as I was saying, the whole qualification. So the idea behind the specialised learning, bringing that in, but there's also the skills element as well. So we've updated all the skills. So again, current students will need to complete their professional development ladders, and then next generation students will be looking at new set of skills and competencies. And so we've really looked at those and what employers are doing and what the work environment is doing, and the sort of, as Shaun was saying, sustainability and technology, and really thinking about the skills that students need in this sort of rapidly changing business environment that they work in. So we've really tried to look at those skills and bring them in as well.
No, absolutely. It sounds like you've taken a real holistic view of the whole qualification.
Yeah, I think each iteration of the ACA, as it's gone through like the last couple of decades in a way, we've been moving much more towards skills-based, actually making sure you've got the right skills and the right aptitude to do a particular role, because knowledge has become much more easier to find with, as we all know, the internet. And so it's much more the professional, skeptical type skills, like have you actually found the right information when you've found it? Has it got the right source? So the skill set moves on a bit. But I think when I did my exams, there's a lot of rote learning and just filling in and getting the job done, much more compliance-based. But I think as the job has moved on and the profession's moved on, it's much more skills-based.
So we've covered a lot of ground today. Hazel, where can students go for support?
Yeah, so absolutely look at the website. That's your main port of call. Yeah, that will hopefully answer your questions, whether you're an existing student or you're a next generation student. Look at the different areas of the website. But then if you need additional advice, then if you're within a training agreement already, then go and speak to your employer and your tuition provider. Or as Shaun said earlier, you can go to student support, come and ask us what the advice they need and where they need to go for more information.
Yeah, and I would add to that, if you are at a university or with a tuition provider, they've got all this information as well, and they'll have designed their courses to allow the seamless transition as well.
So, lots of ways to learn more. We'll link to the Next Generation ACA section of the website and all of the resources you've mentioned today in the show notes for this episode. Finally, I want to say thanks again to both of you for coming in today. Shaun, Hazel, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks
Great.
for the opportunity, and good luck to all the students out there.
Absolutely.
Make sure you visit ICAEW Student Insights for ongoing support during your studies. On the Student Insights Hub, you'll find resources for completing the ACA qualification and ICAEW CFAB, as well as inspiring stories from students and recently qualified members. That's all available at icaew.com/student insights. Finally, if you found this podcast useful, then make sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And let us know what you think by writing a review on your podcast app. Thanks for joining us today. Bye for now.